Good evening everybody, bonjour tout le monde, bonsoir. Et on est de retour avec un autre épisode de Living Sisu live avec un nouveau... oh, hey, how you doing? Hey Jesse. With a new guest. Hey, salut Gaëtan, ça va bien? So a new guest is joining us tonight. This is a great one. I mean, I look up to this guy a lot. He's a goalie like me, different sport, but still look up to him. He's had a hell of a go, and I'm ready to learn a lot from him. Pro soccer goalie with the Montreal Impact. He's played over 9 seasons now. I'm going to confirm that with him. On va confirmer tout ça. Salut Patrick, salut, ça va bien? We're going to confirm that. He is from Ohio originally. I might be wrong, but we're going to confirm that again. And yeah, man, 2050 Golden Glove Award finalist for Goaltender of the Year as well. So this is a great guest today, Evan Bush. We're gonna wait till he comes in. We're gonna join. We're gonna link up with him. We're gonna have a good talk tonight. Really pumped about that. Donc notre invité de ce soir, Evan Bush, gardien de but de l'Impact. On va lui parler un peu de sa carrière. Le MLS is back. Oh, there he is. And yeah, we're gonna let him in here. We're gonna have a nice talk. There you go, Evan. La connexion. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Hey Tiffany, how you doing? How you doing? Should be in there any second. Party Marty, what's up? Hey, what's up, Ev?
What's up? How are you?
Everything's good?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm good, man. So how's the weather down there in Orlando, my man?
At this moment, it's raining, but it was actually a pretty nice day. It was a little bit cooler than the first couple weeks, so it was a nice little respite from the heat.
That's wild. Yeah, exactly. You need the rest. Like I told you, I played in Orlando this year, and I think it rained a total of 5 to 10 times max. It's pretty crazy how the weather is so consistent, so unreal there. But good to go play there. How you doing? Everything's good?
Yeah, everything's all right. Bubble life is different. It's a bit surreal, but we're making the most of it.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but yeah, exactly. You try to make the most of it and go through the tournament the best you can, I guess. So yeah, in the introduction, I might have gotten a few things wrong. You live in Cleveland now, am I right?
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland.
From Cleveland, yeah.
Yeah, we spend most of our time in Montreal, obviously.
Yeah.
When we started having kids and the kids are in school now, even when I'm in the off season, we spend the majority of our time in Montreal.
Yep.
And we've pretty much built our lives there. But yeah, I'm still a very proud Cleveland, Ohio native, and still get back there as much as we possibly can.
Beauty. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So yeah, after I think this year 9th season in Montreal. So I mean, after 9 seasons, you kind of get established in the city and kind of have a feel for it. So I guess it's natural that you stick around. That's cool, man. Start to explain to us a little bit how you got into soccer, why you became a goalie, because a lot of people ask me, like, even fathers, they go, my son wants to be a goalie. I say, oh, I don't know. We're gonna try and start a GoFundMe page for you for the hockey goalie. But how did you become a soccer goalie yourself, and your little intro into the sport?
Yeah, it's funny because I have a lot of parents say the same thing to me. My kid wants to be a goalie. My kid's a goalie. He's great. He wants to be a pro. I said, no, go score goals. He's scoring goals.
Yeah. Go striker. Go in front instead. Go right wing or something. I don't know.
But yeah, going back to my childhood, I didn't really play goalkeeper until I was probably 13 or so. I played every other position on the field first, and got to a point when I was like 13, 14, and they wanted to give me a shot as a goalkeeper during an indoor soccer game. And, I thought it was an interesting thing to do. So I played one half as a goalkeeper. And, I found it fun because I didn't have to run as much anymore. So it was pretty enjoyable. And then, my skill set and my, what I have, my athletic ability lends itself more to being a goalkeeper, I think, than it does playing a lot of other positions. So something that I just really started focusing on, and I fell in love, as I'm sure that you can attest to, with the details of being a goalkeeper. Goalkeeping is very specific, much different than other positions in both of our sports. So falling in love with those details and trying to sharpen those details every day is something that I fell in love with a long time ago, and I still love to do every day now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the same for soccer that it probably is for for goalies in hockey. Like you use the word specific, but I find goaltending compared to, you know, a forward, a mid, or whatnot, everything for us has to be super systematic. Because if it's not, if you don't have a tight system, you kind of get lost in and you get caught. You know, like for me, it would be a puck going through my arms or something, but it's got to be more systematic. Get rid of those little mistakes. That's pretty cool. So then you grow up, then you try that half, and you're pretty good at it, I guess, right? Oh, a couple of your teammates are in. I guess you're pretty good at it, and then all of a sudden you're turning pro. So what are the things you learned from your time, that first half you played as a goalie, to the moment you turned pro? What was the first thing you kind of you learned from yourself as a goalie?
You know, I think kind of what I touched on, it's you know, in my mentality and kind of in my DNA that I pay attention to the details. And, you know, it was something that once I figured out that the way you train as a goalkeeper is completely different than the way you train as the rest of the team.
Yeah.
You know, that was unique. And when I first started playing goalkeeper at 13, it's completely different than what kids now are dealing with. You know, when I was growing up, there was very little access to goalkeeper specific training. Yeah. And now every club, every academy, for the better, for sure, has goalkeeper specific training. But for me, I kind of had to teach myself on my own. You know, I come from a family that wasn't a soccer family, so it wasn't like, you know, my father played the game.
Yeah, it's not like you grew up and he had a bunch of advice for you from experience. I know, yeah.
So I think some of it was good and bad in that sense, where, you know, I wasn't being critiqued at a young age and getting burned out and being taught things that, you know, were well past my age. It was more, you know, my parents were very supportive, and putting me in the right positions, and I'm very thankful for that, for obviously the resources they had to help me to get to, you know, be in the right situations. And then, you know, my work ethic and my mentality kind of took over from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and now, I mean, I don't want to age you there, Bushy, but you're a veteran in Montreal now. You have a lot of experience, and that's one of the things that I want to touch on is what are the 2-3 kind of traits that you've evolved over your career, and now that you're a veteran, what makes you a good leader?
Yeah, it's funny because we're talking here on a social media platform, but I think what you see with a lot of young guys is that they think that social media is where the game is played, and they think that, you know, whatever you know, fan X or whoever the critic is, or who's analyzing the game is your coach, or
Yeah.
you change your game based on, you know, what somebody has written about you or said about you. And you know, it's tough to see that. It's tough to see the young guys get so affected by that. And listen, I've fallen into that
Into the trap. Yeah.
Everybody.
In the vortex.
Yeah, it's hard not to, because, you know, we're all human. But the more you can kind of distance yourself from that feedback, both positive and negative, because I've been on both sides. I've been, you know, praised, and I've been, you know, told that I'm the worst player in the world. So you have to find, you know, it's always somewhere in the middle, right? You're not always as good as your best performance, and you're not always bad as your worst. And I think you can find that level of stability and consistency. You know, that gives you the best chance of really making something out of your career, and making it a longer career, as opposed to, you know, 2, 3, 4 years where you're up here and then you just disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, because a leader now, it's not in this day and age, because we kind of have to bring that up. In this day and age, it's never like, actually, it's more of things you shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not do this, do this, do this. It's more of a, by looking around, like, hey, like, stay off the media. That's good advice. Like, that's good leader advice, especially in Montreal. That's that's good advice that you kind of learned over time, and now you could kind of translate, like, hey,
I
like,
think, I think one of the other things that, and you have experience in this now too with your travels, is soccer and hockey. They're both very international games, specifically or especially soccer. I've had different teammates from different cultures.
yeah, all over the world, man.
And you have to deal with all of those different people in different ways. So me leading an American guy, I can kind of get in his ass a little bit more because that's kind of the American mentality. Whereas, a guy from a different culture, maybe a South American guy or a European guy from different parts of Europe, maybe you have to massage it a little bit more.
Maybe a little bit more chill.
Yeah, put your arm around them a little bit more, or there's different ways, and you have to figure that out. And the only way to do that is by communicating with them and figuring out what makes them go. It's not always the same thing that makes you or me go. It could be something.
Yeah. Everybody kind of ticks at their own pace, and a leader kind of has to pick up on that. That's kind of good advice. That's true. But I kind of got ahead of myself. But in order for you to become that, kind of gain that experience yourself, who set the standard when you were a young guy? Like when you first came to the league, who was the guy in Montreal that set the standard and say, hey man, this is the ultimate pro, this is who we should be following? And then you kind of picked up a little bit on what he was doing in terms of, you were talking about details. So what are the details you saw?
I think there's a few guys.
Hey, Pat.
The first guy in Montreal that I think I got a lot from was Matt Jordan, and we never played together. He retired the year that I came to Montreal, but he ended up being the technical director of the club my first year there, and we use the term cut from the same cloth, which means we have a lot of similarities in the way that we not only read the game and perceive the game, but the way that we live our lives, in terms of our professional lives and our personal lives, and a lot of the same values and more.
Your lifestyle and
Yeah. So me and Matt, we connected a lot. We exchanged books. I know me and you have exchanged some ideas on books in the past and stuff like that. So me and Matt had that connection immediately. And then I'd say the two players that I played with, one was Deviens, who was the first captain in Impact MLS history. His work ethic and tenacity. He wasn't the most skilled player in the world, but he was able to get on national teams and all-star teams because of his work ethic and his leadership capabilities. And then the other guy was actually a guy that I was disappointed that it even came to Montreal, because I was hoping to get my chance to start when he came in, but it was Troy Perkins.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was the backup for like 18 months or something like that. And again, another guy that, we cut from the same cloth. He's an Ohio guy. His work ethic, his attention to detail, first guy in the locker room, putting in the extra work in the gym, stuff like that. I was a guy that I modeled a lot of my work ethic around, and
yeah,
he's a great role model for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You kind of say the same things. Like when I was 20, I first turned pro. Like these are the things I kind of picked up on from guys that I saw, that were veterans, and we all think we kind of have our own unique path, but we all see the same kind of things here and there, different sports. It's kind of all the same thing, and that's pretty cool to hear, especially that we're both goalies, but from different sports, but we kind of learn the same things. And
exactly,
it's I think it's so important to have a guy on a team that, yeah, he's a veteran, but he sets that standard, and to come back to the Sisu lifestyle and all that. Like these people have been through a lot in their careers, like they showed some determination, they showed some grit, they showed some guts, like some resiliency. And sometimes we don't have time to live it all ourselves, and we kind of have to learn from someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You hit it on the head, man. Where I've seen a lot of very, very talented young players that couldn't figure out that mental aspect of the game, and they never were able to increase the level of their game and go to the next level and sustain a career. Whereas the opposite side, I know a lot of guys that weren't that great of players, but they've been able to increment.
Well, they absorb that.
Yeah, they've been able to continually progress in their career and make a life out of it.
That's cool. I remember when we met actually we first met at the event with Bruce Hills in Montreal. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, it was a few summers ago, but I remember you were talking about MBA. You have an MBA, right?
I'm about to finish it. Yeah, I'm
About to
actually.
finish it.
Yeah.
There you go. You got the paperwork in Orlando, so yeah, you had to bring those. Talk a bit about how you that whole process. You know, you're a pro player in the MLS, and you're going through an MBA. Like that's a pretty ambitious goal. Talk a bit about the challenges of that and what it's taken in terms of discipline for you to achieve that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
No
You do
worries.
that once or twice a week.
For me, it was, um, I talked to schools a lot back in Montreal. Probably, a dozen times a year. I go to grade schools or high schools or whatever, and I talk and I tell them that my greatest accomplishment has been getting a degree from college as opposed to anything I've done on the field. And I don't say that because it was hard to get a degree or anything like that. It was the discipline that I learned in managing my time and doing something that I set out to accomplish from the start. And so I put a lot of value in education. I put a lot of value in continuing to progress and setting goals. And that's the other thing that I tell the kids is that the greatest thing about goal setting is that once you reach your goal, that doesn't mean that that's the ceiling and that's the pinnacle. There's always another goal
You
you can.
just reached that goal you set out. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was about 4 years ago. I don't know if it was during a bad moment in my career where I'm like, I really need to start thinking about what's going to happen after my career. And, careers go like this. So it could have been
Yeah.
a bad moment, which was followed by a great moment. But in that moment, I started thinking, I have a wife, I have 3 kids. At that point, I had 2 kids, but now I have 3 kids. And when I'm done playing, I'm going to need to have to transition into something that is not using my body, but in some form using my mind. And I'd like to stay in the game of soccer. So I started thinking about, okay, well, getting an MBA in sports management and following along the footpaths or the footsteps of, people that I've kind of modeled my professional career around. And this goes back to Matt Jordan that I mentioned
Yeah.
initially. Having that on my resume now to say, okay, he was a professional player, but he still had the ambition and the ability to accomplish this major feat while he was playing the game with 3 kids at home, thinking about what was coming next. And the interesting part about what I've learned while I was doing this was that when I started this process of doing the MBA, I had what was probably my best year as a professional because I was able to go to training, put all my attention on my training and in my games, and then come home and kind of separate what I've been doing
Yeah.
on the
The
field.
work stuff and then
Yeah, and so I was able to really compartmentalize what was going on in my life, and I think it's really paid dividends, and I'm going to be very happy when it's over because it's been a lot of work. But
well,
but
you're probably getting more done in the bubble, I guess, eh? You're probably
yeah,
getting more done.
well, that's the plan. But then your mind gets
But then there's the pool and it's nice in Orlando. No, I
that's it,
feel you.
man.
I feel you.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah, that's true, man. Like I've had guys tell me that they take classes and they feel like it kind of helps their game.
yeah,
And I can see it. I can see it. Kind of makes me want to get in the mix too, and grab a few courses here and there because it does kind of stimulate you in different ways, and it kind of to débranche, like you unplug
yeah,
yourself from
yeah.
hockey or soccer, whatever sport or whatever.
And,
Kind
you
of
know,
unplug yourself.
while we've been down here, MLS has done actually a really good job of making sure that guys are mentally taking care of themselves too. They've given guys free access to the Headspace meditation app, which I think is great. I've been using that for a number of years now. But also they gave us access to Masterclass, which I'm not sure if you're
Oh
familiar.
yes, of course. Oh man, you just so much information on that. That's
Yeah, so
awesome.
that's another thing. You don't get a degree from it, but you're stimulating your mind by, following and kind of, picking the brains of the best people to do it in their industry or whatever they're doing. So that's something that's super interesting to me too.
Well, it kind of ties back to what we were saying at the beginning, is that we don't have time to live all the things ourselves. So the masterclass thing, they've been through all the adversity, the determination, the courageous parts of their life, and they needed resiliency to get through those things. And now all of a sudden we get to kind of learn from them, from those. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Nobody really knows that you guys have access to that, but that's real positive. I think that's real cool.
absolutely.
Yeah. So just before we kind of close, and I just want to say there's somebody asked you if your kids speak French, so he just wanted to know down here. He asked the question. So
Yeah, my daughter is actually, she's going to be in grade 2, coming in the fall or whenever school decides to start, I guess. And she's been learning French, quite a bit, and it's been actually very beneficial to me too, because obviously with the schools shut down, the homework was being sent home, so I was able to kind of sharpen up on some of the things that I should have been learning all along. And I've been helping her with very elementary and rudimentary French classes, but it's been great for both of us. And while the quarantine and the isolation has sucked, by and large, that aspect of being with the kids and stuff like that has been super cool.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Just want to say hi to Emily Rogowski here. So yeah, that's real good to know. Actually, like it helps you from living in Montreal, but your daughter's kind of speaking it at home, so that kind of helps you.
Yeah.
A couple more things I want to touch on. It's probably more a good question for me. I want to know, so I guess people will benefit, but I want to know. I'm asking you kind of personally. From your rookie year to now, you have a family, you have kids. Obviously, now you're doing the MBA and stuff. When you get ready for a game, how did your routine change from day one to now? Like how did it evolve over time?
I remember when I was, going from my college days and then my first couple of years as a pro, I would carry everything with me from, a training session, even if I had a good training session, but my team were to lose like the exercise we were doing, I would carry that with me all day. And I thought that was the way to live.
To kind of do it, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if I would change that necessarily at that time in my life, because I didn't have many other responsibilities. But when I started, having kids and having, even before the kids with my wife being home, me carrying home that tension and that hostility from, a bad day at work, it's just like anybody carrying home stuff from work. It's not beneficial to your relationships. And what I found out is that when I was able to kind of flip that switch and be a little bit more calm at home and really focus on, the positive things, when I was at home, was that it made me more calm in training and games and stuff like that. And it also, corresponded well with, playing more games and being more comfortable on the field and all those things. So it wasn't one thing or the other. It was a combination of a lot of things, but I'm just much more calm now with, being in the moment, whether that's, at training, at the games, at home. And, you said hello to Emily there a few minutes ago. Emily is someone who's a big soccer fan, and we have met over the years. She was a big Drogba fan, so when Drogba came to Montreal,
Not many people weren't Drogba fans, huh?
Yeah, she started following the club quite a bit, and she's actually been very, helpful with me passing along different books. She's actually given me books at times for, to focus on the mental side of the game. And,
Amazing.
a lot of books, it never tells you to be pissed off and upset all day about something that went wrong.
It's
More
true.
times than not, it tells you to
Let it go.
acknowledge it and move on. And that's it.
Yeah, that's you're absolutely right. I think that's something in the 5-6 years I've been pro, is like you got to find something to just get outside the game. And it's not, it's part of our life. It's our work and stuff. It's what we love to do. But man, good game, bad game. You just got to let that stuff go. And I think it's been helpful. You have a dog, right? Do you have a dog?
I did. She passed away about 2 months ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say
No,
that. I didn't know that, brother.
no,
But
it was
um,
kind of a tough situation.
yeah,
She was 11 years old. She was a husky, so she was older.
yeah.
She tore her ACL in our backyard, so we took her
Oh
to
man.
yeah, we took her and she got a surgery, and 2 days later she didn't react well. She was having respiratory problems, and she passed away overnight, which was devastating. And my wife still takes it very, very,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a great dog. So sorry to
But
sorry
no,
to have
I mean
to,
that's my bad. That's my bad. But to bring it positive, like a husky brought you outside. You were probably walking with this dog nonstop, right?
exactly, yeah.
And this is what I learned with my puppy. She's only 8 months, and um, that's a great way for us athletes to disconnect, man. Like we get home and our dogs are super happy all the time,
Yeah.
and they get us walking outside. So I think that's really positive, and that's been a good way for me, and it's probably been super positive for you and your career and your life. So that's kind of a way that I wanted to bring up to kind of disconnect and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like that. But you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We when we started having kids, we didn't walk her as much as we did previously. Obviously, you have
Yeah, for sure.
more
You got way more time.
responsibilities. But at the start of the quarantine, she it was about 2 months into the quarantine when she finally passed away. But the first 2 months, it was like she was probably like, "Man, what the hell's going on?" We're walking
We're
like,
logging a lot of Ks. That's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome. But yeah, just in closing, man. I mean, I keep getting text messages from Jason Bolio. He says, "Hey, we got to go play golf. We got to go play golf." And then one time we almost set it up for us to go play, but it never happened. So you guys are in Orlando. I don't know if you guys are playing golf without me, but
yeah.
how's the golf game been going?
I was getting out quite a bit before we came down here, and there is golf available down here, but there's 26 teams, and with the way that you need to social distance and stuff like that, you have to reserve it for that day for one team. So
Okay, okay.
we were potentially going to go either today or tomorrow, but then with the negative result yesterday in our game, I decided that it was probably better to
Just stay in.
forego that and
Yeah,
well, I think like we talked about, it's important to have things to kind of get your mind away from the game. At the same time, you also have to respect, the feelings of, people around the club, people, associated, whether it's coaches or fans or whoever. The optics of that might not be the
the
proper
best.
thing to do. So,
Yeah, I get you.
yeah.
So yeah, man, crazy game yesterday. A lot of goals. Do you want to run us through that, or we can just pass right by it if you don't want to? That's fine.
No, I mean,
If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine too. I get it. I get it. I've been there.
it was a weird game. I saw on SportsCenter actually this morning that it was the first MLS game played on American soil between two Canadian teams. So that's kind of
Wow.
an interesting thing,
Kind
I
of a
guess.
weird fact, but cool.
Yeah, yeah. But it was a rivalry game, but it felt different. Being here without the with fans on, whether it's our fans or
Different.
in Toronto, it's the feel it was different, and
Yeah.
hopefully this thing gets over quickly with the pandemic and we can get back to having fans in stadiums, because that's the lifeblood of the game.
That's true. That's true. That's the whole beautiful part of sports, man. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I want to wish you best of luck in the rest of the MLS's back tournament. Obviously, I'm a fan, so I'll be supporting, man.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for coming on. Thank you for coming on the little Living Sisu live show. Man, you are quite the example for the Sisu lifestyle. 9 seasons with the same club. That's rare nowadays in our
It is.
sports. You know what I mean? It is rare now. Everybody's changing every year. Like I've been changing every year, so I wish I could play in the same spot for 9 years. So, yeah, thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. And wish you the best of luck. I just want to remind people that the Living Sisu membership is free again, and all we want to do is help you activate your lifestyle. So come and join us. If you have any questions, just ask away. We're always available. And again, thanks, Evan. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, ciao, ciao.